At the beginning of chapter 2, we find Kibet embarking on a journey, not merely across distance, but into the depths of his own identity. His father had once left the cradle of his native village, venturing far from the familiar rhythms of his kin, and so Kibet and his cousins grew up as children separated by geography. Their roots scattered across the land like seeds carried by the wind. They knew little of the wider family that had come before them. Faces remembered only in faint stories. Names spoken softly by elders long ago. Drawn by an unspoken yearning, Kibet and his siblings turns their gazes toward the foothills of the Nandi Hills, where all of his grandparents lived.
So my siblings and I, we had grew up separated from our extended family. My dad had moved out of his village when he was young, trying to find a new life. And now us, we were born in a different place. And the way this separation started is during the colonial time, the British had leased part of this land to this community from South Africa called the Boers. And as soon as the British left, the lease terminated, and there was these huge properties that needed to be occupied. And now the newly formed Kenyan government was redistributing these properties back to the native Africans, and my dad became part of those people that took over. And now anybody that lived in this new settlement place came from somewhere else. They weren't related at all. And that is why when we were growing up, we didn't really know much about our extended family because they lived on a different side. So when I was writing chapter 2, I thought maybe I should illustrate that journey my siblings and I going to visit my grandparents and finding out more about our extended family.
At this point, we see Kibet stepping into a world unlike any he has ever known. His heart brims with quiet excitement, for this is his first time setting foot in a suburban city. Eldoret, a place alive with movement, colour and sound. The air hums with the rhythm of engines, voices and distant music, a symphony of life beyond the stillness of the plains. Here he meets his older sister, a figure of pride and accomplishment. By then his sister was working as a pharmacist. To Kibet she's both familiar and distant, a reflection of what might be possible beyond the boundaries of the life he has known. For the first time, he realizes that there exists another world beyond the barbed wire fences of Moiben's plains and the rugged folds of the Cherangani hills. It is here, amidst the noise and wonder of the city, that a new understanding begins to take root. The awakening of a boy who for the first time sees the vastness of the world and the smallness of his own beginnings.
So by the time I was in nursery school, my sister already graduated secondary school and she was out of the family. I had never really been to the place where she works. So that day when we went to visit her on our journey to my grandfather's is when I actually was able to see a different person in her. Think about it, like you are this village boy who has never moved out or you have never been to any other place, and then you see the sister that you know her, and then you find out that she has an office, and on her office she has a phone on a desk. So it was a bit of a shock because I start seeing a different person in her, and within that very short time period I start questioning what exactly was happening, because it felt like her life at the time, or where she was, or what she was doing for work, was something that was more admirable compared to me and my other siblings in Moiben in a farm, still, breaking our backs. So there was a bit of it was a very short time when we stopped by, but I remember thinking a lot and reflecting on what I had witnessed within that encounter with her.
After that brief visit to his sister in her pharmacy, young Kibet steps back into a world alive with noise and motion. Yes, the streets of Eldoret. The city surrounds him, restless, unfamiliar, yet full of wonders. Still, much of it made little to no sense to his little brain, but he felt like it was calling to his consciousness. Perhaps a place to be explored, not feared. And soon the small towers faded behind them. The road turns to less traffic. The air grows still as the rhythm of the countryside returns, something that he was well familiar with as they started their second phase of their journey towards their grandfather's home, chasing the quickly fading light and unknowingly the next chapter of his unfolding story. They were gone.
So after that encounter, when I met my sister, it didn't last long. We left right after that. The only thing that I can remember talking to her during that encounter was the fact that she was asking me a lot about things that I was doing in school. There was a bit of reputation that surrounded my school going, that I wasn't this kid who enjoyed going to school. So there'd been a relay of information from Moiben to where she was working at, that Kibet wasn't really someone who enjoyed going to school. And the conversation lasted for quite some time, her reminding me that I had to stay on top of my school performance to be able to follow or lead and be able to work at the place where she was working at the time, or to work on kind of like the same environment, which from the beginning I had found it to be more admirable in that sense.